You know what, yeah? You know when you're just going about your day and you see and you hear something and you just think to yourself, yeah, this is the reason why us black people are so far behind. This is the reason why white people are so much more further ahead than us black people. Like literally, if it was a race between black people and white people, they would have lapped us a 5, 6, 7 times easily. Like when I hear stuff like, when my girl's at work and that, and she's talking to her clients, she's a mortgage broker, innit? And they're saying that, yeah, you know, my dad lent me 15, 20 grand, or he gave me 20 grand towards this property deposit and that. You know, a man like me gets thinking, you know, it makes me think, you know, I'm like, rah, I don't know much black people where their parents could lend them 20 grand and that. Yeah, sometimes black people come into money from their parents only through the fact that they passed away and that. They might inherit a house or they might sell a property that their parent lived in that died and that. But for the most part, whilst their parents are living, they can't offer their children nothing. They can't pass down nothing. They can't give their children a helping hand. Like literally, I'm at my yard and I'm hearing my girl talk about, oh yeah, the client said that, you know, the dad gifted them 20 grand and they need to do a background check and check their bank statements and that to make sure the money is legit and that. And I think to myself, man can't even go to my people them and ask for 10 grand and that. Man can't even be 5 grand short during this property purchase and that and ask them, yeah, borrow me 5 grand or can I just have 5 grand for free and that? Because not 5 grand for free to buy Gucci or nothing like that, but 5 grand for free to go towards this property and that. To go towards the furniture in this property and that. Man can't do that. Most of you lot watching this right now can't do that. White people, they can. I'm going to simply break down why us black people are so far behind and why the white people them are so much more further ahead than us. It's simple. Every generation starts off from scratch. The previous generation don't leave nothing behind to offer the next generation a helping hand to make it easier for themselves. Imagine, yeah? Imagine there were 2 races, 2 ethnicities, race A and race B. They both start off from scratch. They both start off from ground zero. No one has an advantage, no one has a disadvantage. Let's say, for example, race A. They start off from ground zero, they start off from scratch. They coast along through life though. They don't make no sacrifice. They don't leave nothing behind for the next generation. The next generation, they have to start off from scratch. They also do the same nonsense, don't make nothing of themselves, don't make no sacrifice. Therefore, when they pass away, the next generation has to start off from scratch. Race B, on the other hand, they start off from ground zero. They have no advantage, no disadvantage. But they don't just coast along through life. They take life a bit more seriously. They make a little bit of something of themselves. But they also leave 10 grand behind in the bank. The next generation, they're able to use that 10 grand and also knowledge that's passed down from the next generation to give them a little bit of a push. They jump on that, they expand on it, they're able to use that money and that, leave that money behind for the next generation, the 3rd generation, 4th generation, 5th generation. They're able to capitalize off of what their previous generations have done for them. Someone take a guess, take a wild guess. Which generation represents black people and which generation represents white people? You know the difference between animals and us? I know a lot of people believe in God and believe that we're not animals and that. But the people them that is believe in animals and evolution, that we're animals and that. You know the difference between animals and us? It's just that we're able to leave things behind, knowledge, technology and that, for the next generation. So that the next generation don't have to start off from scratch. If we didn't have that capability to leave knowledge, books, hieroglyphics, technology behind for the next generation, if we weren't able to teach the next generation, you know, we will still be in we will still be like cavemen. Imagine where we would be as a human race. Yeah, forget about color now, innit? Yeah, forget about splitting up the human races and ethnicity and that. Imagine just one race. Imagine where we would be if we had that type of mentality. If we were incapable of leaving things behind for the next generation. we would still literally be cavemen, rubbing sticks together to create ras clock fire, you know. This is the importance of leaving things behind for the next generation. The next generation is supposed to have it easy or easier. The previous generation is supposed to do all that hard work, break the boundaries and yeah, set up the foundation so the next generation, they don't have to redo all that nonsense. You don't want to be in a position where your youths are having to start off from ground zero. Yeah, obviously it's good for them to learn the hard way and that. Life ain't easy, but we're still supposed to pave the way. Man can't even, you get me? Most people watching this right now can't even go to their mum and their dad and say, listen, yeah, I'm 10 grand short of this property purchase and that. Can you bust me on a 10 grand? I said in a previous video before, I ain't released it yet, but man know electricians and plumbers and that. Man that have been in the building game 30 years. And they're talking about, yeah, their property is worth about 800 grand. What they're going to do is they're going to sell their property, downsize, go and buy a nice big bungalow near the coastline or whatever. And then the extra 200-300 grand that they got in the bank, they're going to distribute amongst their children. So their children don't even have to, obviously they probably are saving up 20-30 grand and that, but they don't even have to use their money to buy their first property. They can use their parents' money that they've been gifted to buy their first property and then buy a next property straight away. Now obviously people are dumb and most people ain't gonna do that, but at least they're setting their children up to do that. And I guarantee there probably are some people that do that anyway. And I guarantee there are some people who, you know, they've been gifted 30 grand from their parents or whatever, their dad, their mum, whatever. They've used that to buy their residential property, and then they already had 20-30 grand in their bank account, and they're using that money to go and buy a buy-to-let. By the age of 25, they already got 2 properties. They got their main residence and a buy-to-let. Black people, we can't say the same. We cannot say the same. But me, man's gonna break that cycle. Man's already got 2 properties in this country, one somewhere else, Egypt. I'm in the process of buying my 3rd property right now. Maybe by the time this video's dropped, maybe I already got the 3rd property. Hopefully, so long as my man don't pull out or whatever in it. Because some people, they're a bit weird. Like they want to sell their property and then they just say, nah, I don't want to sell it no more. But man's setting my generation up, my bloodline up to where they don't have to do the hard groundwork of saving up 40 grand to buy a property and that for their first property. No, they will be inherited. They will inherit a property. Like how we inherit knowledge. Yeah, we still have to learn a bit, but we pretty much inherited knowledge in that. Yeah, that's what you want to do. That's how you want to set up your youths them and your grandchildren and that. That man say all the time, all them people there that live in them big manor houses and that, they don't own it. Their granddad didn't even own it. It was their great-great-granddad times 7 who owned that property. Yeah, the people them who live in the property, they can't afford to buy it. They probably could not ever afford to buy it. They can't even afford to refurbish the property because it's too big, it's cost too much money. But you know what? They still got a estate that they're sitting on. If they really wanted to, they could sell it. If they sold it, they will come into about 3 mil easily. Black people, we can't say the same. Yeah, man. Literally, that's it, man. We need to start building that wealth so that we can get ourselves out of this hole and that. And I use the word advantage and disadvantage earlier in it, yeah. And I know some people are gonna come in the comment section and say, "Oh, well, the Queen stole the crown jewels and that." Yeah. Whatever in it, yeah. We started off from ground zero. We started off from scratch. Okay, what are we gonna do to build this thing back up? Yeah, we were enslaved and stripped of our identity and that hundreds of years ago and that, but we've been around for hundreds of years now, you know. Why have we not been building up? Yeah, let's say for example, our build up, the amount we could build up is always going to be a little bit less than white people. I'll play devil's advocate, give you that. Why have we still not built up something? Yeah. Why have we not built up something? But I know why it is. I know why it is. Because I know a man who he's taking out a Rolex on finance. I had to say to our man, blood, why don't you buy a property and that? Like, you know, you got utes and that. This is the mentality of us. This is why we don't get nowhere. Because we think buying a Rolex or having a 20 grand wardrobe, wearing Gucci and Balenciagas is more important than saving up to buy properties and that, to leave things behind for our use. White people don't think like that. Because they don't have a poor man's mindset. See, a poor man's mindset is a man who they want to look rich. They want to show people that they've got money. Man that have got money don't need to show people that they got money. If they ever felt poor, they just look in their bank balance and that. But they won't. Because they know they're living good. Telling you, all them people here that you see, that you know and that, like, that wear the Balmain jeans, Balenciagas and that, they all live in, most of them all live in council houses and that. Most of them people there that wear all them clothes there and all that, they're all working class. Middle class people, they don't, let me tell you something about middle class and working class and that. You see middle class people, you think they care about Gucci and that. Middle class people are in their own world. Middle class people are like slightly sneaky. They're not in, like, yeah, they might listen to rap music and that, but they could never have that swag and that. Them man there and them gal there are too closed off. They're slightly sneaky. They don't have no swag. They're not around people to have swag, to bounce off their swag and that. Tell me how much people who go to Oxford and Cambridge University have swag. Yeah, but that's the majority of the people them that go Oxford and Cambridge University, they come from middle class backgrounds and that. Middle class people don't care about what's the latest fashion and what's trending and Balenciagas and that. Some of them do have it because they can afford it and that, and they think, oh, this is gonna make me look more cool and that. But most middle class people don't. It's the poor working class people that want to wear all the Gucci and Balenciaga and all that nonsense and that, to make themselves look like they're middle class or rich. Working class people, they want to wear Gucci and that and Balenciaga to make themselves look like they're middle class or make themselves look like they're rich. Middle class people, they don't care about stuff like that. And the upper class people, yeah, they wear it and that, but you know what? They can afford them things there. Anyway, man, that's it, man. The reason why us black people are so far behind is because every generation starts off from scratch. If we had the mentality of white people, and it's not all white people, obviously, innit? But if we had the mentality of a good portion of white people, we'll be much further ahead. But we don't. So that's why we're down in the dumps. We need to break the cycle. We need to build up estate. Forget about starting businesses and that. Let's build up an estate of property first. Then let's talk about jumping onto the business thing. Everyone wants to own their own business because it sounds cool. I know, man. Open up shisha bar, all them thing there. They think, yeah, because it sounds cool innit, to own your own business. Like, yeah, man, I got the t-shirt, man's a businessman and that. But if unfortunately those businesses fail and that, what have you got to bounce back to? See, property prices will always be going up. People will always need somewhere to rent. Not everyone's gonna always want to go to a pub or a shisha bar and that. Them things, they get old and that. Yeah, there's always people always gonna have customers and that. But what's more important? Like I said, there's people that live in manor houses. These manor houses have been around from day. Most businesses, they come and they go. Property and that will always be here. Someone will always need somewhere to live. During the pandemic, people's businesses were failing and that. People were still paying rent, you know. People still had to pay rent. Now, obviously, the government give people mortgage, people that have mortgages and that. They gave them some kind of like holiday. I didn't take it. I didn't need to take no mortgage holiday and that. But people always still need somewhere to live. Yeah? People, we can do without businesses. Yeah. Think about buying properties first before you start up businesses. Obviously, if the business only costs about $1,000 or $2,000, then yeah, fine, innit? But when the business is costing a lot of money, I say get a property first, innit? Yeah? Start investing in properties first before you want to start going down the business route and that. But each to their own, innit? Yeah. You do what you want to do. Stay wise, done though.